Good evening to each and everyone on the platform. Today is 30th December 2022, and it's 5 p.m. 5 30 minutes past 5, and we are going to start our second session for the CPD online training. Mr. John Agbe is our trainer for this evening, and he's taking us to the use of ICT to improve learning outcomes. So, without much ado, I'll hand over the stage for Mr. John Agbe to go straight to the point, and then don't forget we are recording it for our members who are unable to join the Zoom training. Mr. Agbe, please take over.
Okay, thank you very much. And I welcome all of you participants to this second session for today's training. Specifically, we'll be tackling the use of ICT to improve learning outcomes. If you check the chat box, there are some rules, earlier engagement with the classroom management, which we give credit to my co-facilitator, Gladys Akasa, on rules for this platform. Virtually, this is a classroom that we have, you and I find myself. And this particular course is a mandatory course per the NTC CPD framework finally reviewed, which has its law backing from the Act 1023. It mandates NTC to enact or to create CPD or framework for teacher education. And we are relying on a CPD framework final review document. And it specified that this is the mandatory course 12 for this. And in this, you could see that during your registration, you registered the same, somebody would say registered the same course in Abra Sebu Akwamankese and Lade Kotopon and Kwabre. It is the reason is that in this course that you and I are going to encounter, it has basic, standard, and advanced per the framework. So that is why you are saying, don't be too quick to say that it's the same course that is being done. No, it's just the three things. That's the basic knowledge in ICT to improve learning outcomes, the standard knowledge, and the advanced knowledge. So that is why you have this. So I believe all of you are registered, and we'll give other times for you to register in the various WhatsApp platforms. So basically, we'll be dealing with the use of ICT to improve learning outcomes. And we'll start with what is ICT. So the outline of the presentation will be tackling what ICT is. We'll delve into the impact of ICT on education and how ICT is impacting on education gives rise to the reason why we ask ourselves, why do we need ICT? Because you and I will realize the need for ICT, or the necessity that ICT is no more a luxury, but there's the need. And for that matter, we need to have an ICT-based teaching. And out of it, we're going to encounter some challenges and some advantages. And what are they? And how are we going to use these things to improve learning outcomes? And at the end of the day, the learning outcomes that you have arrived at, how are we going to demonstrate it in our teaching, our learning, and our assessment? And this will also give rise for question and answer time. So with this, we kindly move on with our presentation. All right. So basically, I want you to observe this diagram. In this era that we are, in the 21st century that you and I find ourselves, either you were born before computers, or you were born in the computer era, or you were born after the computer era. The education, for that matter, is being redefined. The way that we used to define literacy, that is, in old language, we used to define literacy as the ability to read and write. By the 21st century, in defining education, we put literacy in terms of what learning, relearning, and unlearning. And ICT provides a very quick tool to do that. And that is why we are saying that in the 21st century, the learning process is redefined. All right, let's move on. So why are we saying the learning process is being redefined? We say this because if you observe this diagram, I just want you to just quietly observe any of them and see how it relates to your daily life, something that you have experienced, vehicle tracking, routing, delivery scheduling, radio frequency, barcoding. All these things, you see that it relates to us. And the EDI, it stands for electronic data interchange. In terms of mobile money, in terms of as we are communicating, we're exchanging electronic data. All right, so in supply and management. So all these things are services that is being rendered through ICT. So can you and I say that you have not experienced any of these? I just want you to ask yourself, reflect upon this. Can you be vivid enough to say that you have not experienced any of these ICT related services? I doubt anybody will say no. So this gives rise to the fact that the reality is that ICT is no more a luxury, but a necessity. ICT is no more a luxury, but what? A necessity. It is part of our everyday life. And for that matter, we need to imbibe this in our teaching and learning assessment such that our learners will take cues from this so that it will also improve upon their learning outcomes. And here, this CPD thing that we are doing, we say it is what lifelong learning. ICT is also giving you the opportunity for lifelong learning, such that we want to equip our learners, and we as facilitators, we need to get that requisite skills so that we can also impart upon our learners. It's like, how can you give something to somebody that you don't have? You can't be a signboard and direct somebody whilst you are not going there. So the reality is that you and I cannot afford to go back to the old ways of teaching. ICT has come to stay, and for that matter, we need to inculcate it in our teaching, our learning, and our assessments. Let me just specify this barcoding. Now, if we take our teacher license card, there is another standard of barcode in which we refer to it as the QR code. If you scan it, it's going to give your details to you. Teaching curriculum 2 has the same barcode. All right, so as we earlier made mention that the reality that we are facing now is that you and I cannot afford to go back. You and I, wired or wirelessly, lived in a connected world. I'm sitting here, you are there, and we are interacting. We are engaging. For that matter, our learners need to be taught on how they can also collaborate, how they can also communicate globally in a fluent and skillful way. And skillful way means we are giving the necessary skills for them to be productive, not those skills of using ICT for dubious and other vices. So that's the reality you and I are facing, is that you and I cannot afford to go back. All right. So ICT has what? Revolutionized the 21st century. It has changed the way we do things in terms of business. Nowadays, you can just sit behind your phone, your device, or whatever. And sometimes we situate ICT to be screens and input or keyboards. But you calling your mason to check upon that building project, you see how the ICT tool through the phone is enhancing the need for you to check in on your mason, can take you pictures. People are outside and they are building in Ghana. How are they doing it? It's through the use of ICT. So we want to see that ICT is not just It's not just a theory thing, but there's a lifelong learning thing that we need to imbibe of our blessed memory. That is, Mr. Kofi Annan put this in that ICT has transformed education. And kudos and credit to him for establishing the Kofi Annan ICT Training Center, because he saw the need that ICT is changing the way education is going. For that matter, it provides what? A powerful tool that transforms a teacher-centered into what? Learner-centered, enriched environment. So that is the beauty of ICT, and that is how Kofi Annan put this forth. That is what he proposed, that that is how he has seen ICT. And I believe you and I see the need, or the how ICT enriches our learning experience. You can sit in the comfort of your home or wherever you are, and you can Google to find any information. You can do fact checking. You can find out the weather. You can find out there are so many that ICT offers. All right. So we continue. Now, in trying to define ICT, by this juncture, I just want you to just reflect and try to define ICT in your own way. Think about, what is ICT? Ask yourself, ask your friend, ask your device, ask, just what is ICT? What does ICT mean to you? I just want you to ponder upon this and meditate, if I should say so. Now, the fact is, ICT has brought a paradigm shift, a major change from the way teaching and learning and assessment goes on. What are we trying to say? We are trying to say that ICT has moved the factory model of education towards the broadcast model of education. And what do we mean by a factory model of education? Factory model of education simply means that the learner is seen as a raw material, in quotes. And raw materials are used
All right. I think